when you hear the mayors and the first selectmen and the police chiefs say, get out of Dodge if you live along the shoreline, if you live in harm's way. This is why they're telling you to evacuate. And if these trees go over, they fall onto a road.
They certainly do. In fact, these trees are right above a very busy road there in Mystic. We've seen a couple of cars pass by while these trees are teetering there. So this is a situation that we've been following. Governor Malloy late this afternoon asking everyone to please stay indoors. Now is not the time to try to get out, not the time to try to get outside of your home or the shelter to try to watch this storm. He's asking everyone to stay indoors, and rightfully so when we look at situations like this.
All right, well, we're going to keep our camera trained on that scene for a little while longer, see what happens. But in the meantime, so many shoreline towns have ordered evacuations. Milford, or part of Milford, is one of them.
That's where we find NBC Connecticut's Deborah Boxty standing by. Deb, what's the very latest there?
Well, Keisha, Jerry, I can tell you that conditions have been deteriorating just in the last few minutes as we've been waiting to go on air here. A heavy wind. You can see the rain is coming down. Right behind me, this is Melba Street here in Milford, an area very prone to flooding. Since we've been here, the water has gone down, but authorities caution that that's certainly not going to stay that worse in this area later. As I said, this is an area prone to flooding. Take a look over here. We are just right along Long Island Sound right here. You can get a look at how the right now the fierce waves coming up here along the shore, and these homes here boarded up. We did speak to a homeowner who has stopped by to check out how his property is doing. If you see the greenhouse right here, he lost his property last year after Tropical Storm Irene. Just started rebuilding the house over the summer. As I said, he's already stopped back here a couple of times so far just to see how his house is faring, and he's hoping it will be okay this time around. Take a listen here.
Last year, Irene, it pretty much was destroyed, and then went through the process of having it knocked down last April, and then started rebuilding this, past summer.
What are you worried about now?
Well, I'm just hoping that it's, I had to elevate it, so I hope it's high enough that I'll be able to water, stay underneath it, and I'll be okay.
And looking at pictures from Long Island and just a short time ago, showing just how those waves are coming up and how the water really is coming up here where these houses are. In this part of Milford, the mayor told us earlier that residents of 4 low-lying areas have been ordered to evacuate from this area. He says many people have left. We have seen people still out and about, a lot of people just checking out what's going on, a lot of people taking some pictures before they find some place to go to higher ground later tonight. That's the situation here in Milford. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Deborah Boxty, thank you. Thought we were going to lose her, but we didn't. That's what happens when you're covering a storm of this magnitude. A lot of nerves raw there in Milford and in so many other communities.
Can you imagine seeing a house that you've worked so hard to rebuild standing in harm's way like that one is?
It's got to be tough to take.
It's got to be a sickening feeling. Kevin Nathan is standing by at the critical information desk with the latest. Kev, easy for me to say.
Jerry, Keisha, thank you. We've just learned Norwich Public Utilities has now 190 customers in the dark, and right now there are more than 145,000 CLMP customers without power. That number has been growing and changing by the minute. The outages scattered throughout the state. United Illuminating has more than 7,300 power outages. Now remember, the power companies have said that until this storm passes and winds are below 40 miles per hour, the power crews will not be able to get out and make repairs. And don't forget, if your power goes out, we're making sure you can still get the critical information that you need over the coming days. We've partnered with these radio stations to simulcast our coverage. You can find us on WPOP.
Service
until the storm is past and clear.
Jenna,
upon a luxury high-rise building, or rather adjacent to a luxury high-rise building that is going up. It's under construction. The crane has collapsed. People are being pushed out of the area. There are evacuations underway. Sean Hennessy is on the ground right now to give us a first-hand look. Sean?
Yeah, Maurice, good afternoon. The effects of Sandy are being felt in ways that few of us ever could have expected. And what's above us is Exhibit A. Nick, if you can pan up, about 70 stories is what police anticipate or expect this crane to be elevated at. This crane telling us that they think the wind speed may have been anywhere from 90 miles an hour plus. Perilous this crane is going to be, and of course it could fall. Down below, they've evacuated many of the buildings on the far side of where the crane is, on the other side of where we are, while the people who live near where we are, they can stay inside their buildings. As you can see, the crane has been dangling there for a couple of hours. You can see that from time to time it moves just a little bit. Authorities have been trying to figure out what they can do to stabilize this crane. Obviously, explosions. And so Con Edison, they've been here a couple hours as well, busily digging in there, trying to shut off these steam pipes and gas pipes. Obviously, the concern is to prevent an explosion. So people here who've been working with the fire department and police department say they've never seen anything like this. Just absolutely incredible. Obviously hoping for the best. You can see that the streets around here have been closed off in every single direction. 2 avenues this way, 2 avenues that way. Every single avenue has been shut down. Police are here, fire's here, Con Edison here. And as we look above, you can see everyone just has their eyes on that crane, hoping for the best, hoping that these winds aren't strong enough to knock that crane down, because if it comes down, obviously it's going to bang into a building, it's going to cause all kinds of damage, and there is the potential of it piercing the pavement, hitting the gas pipes, hitting the steam pipes, and causing an incredible explosion. We're live in Midtown. Sean Hennessy, CBS 2 News.
Sean, these pictures really bring it home graphically as to what we're up against. What about gawkers? We heard reports that people are all over the place trying to check this out. Is that so?
We've seen some people who are leaving their buildings, taking a look upside. We've seen people leaving restaurants, taking pictures and taking a look upside. We should say upstairs, so to speak. But they haven't been staying here long, and if they're in any danger, police have been quick to make them move along. I mean, right now, if you look at the path of where this crane is, if it were to fall, there's absolutely no one in its path except for police and fire. So authorities have been doing a pretty good job keeping people out of the way. Those who are checking it out are looking at it briefly, and then they're being asked to move along, because obviously this thing could come down at any time. All it takes is a stiff gust, and it certainly could come down like the type of gust we're feeling right now. A strong gust down here on the street feels strong, but imagine what it feels like 70 stories up. So obviously the concern is get people out of the way, don't let them gawk too long, and keep them out of harm's way.
Don't want any part of that, Sean. Okay, thank you so much. Excellent work there on the ground.
Yeah, the camera angle from the ground really gives you a sense of how high that is. I mean, we've been looking at it from a camera that we have located up above, right, but seeing it from the ground there,
75
really
stories up.
Different perspective. And Sean said, like a knife with butter, it'll just penetrate right through the cement. All right, let's go to Belmar, New Jersey now. There's our camera view once again from high up above, and you can just see that crane just bent right in half. And obviously, as Sean just said, Con Edison crews trying to work as quickly as they can to turn off the gas in that area.
Okay, let's take you down to the Jersey Shore right now. Belmar, New Jersey is taking a beating. CBS 2's Chris Raggi bringing home some really good pictures for us. Chris, what do you have now?
Maurice, Christine, thanks so much. And getting back to that situation with the crane on 57th, I can't imagine that situation and what they're trying to do to get that under control. What they're trying to do to get things under control here in Belmar right now. I just spoke with the beach patrol who pulled up alongside me. They cannot believe how many people have not heeded the warnings and evacuated. There was a mandatory evacuation since yesterday for Belmar. They cannot believe how many people have stayed behind. I don't know if you remember, but we came down here for the 6-month anniversary of Irene. We got a chance to come here to Belmar, to Spring Lake, to Seagirt, see the recovery. It was a beautiful day at the 6-month mark. And we remember seeing a young lady with 2 kids on this beautiful swing set right along the beach here and also on the play set. I want to show you that situation now. You talk about a tale of 2 scenarios. I'm going to make my way out of Mobile 2 here for a second and follow along. We're right here on Ocean Ave. And again, if you can see this situation, this is that swing set right now. That's the playground area. If you remember last year during Hurricane Irene, that playground set ended up being on Ocean Avenue. That was new this year, made of highly reinforced materials. They said at the time it could withstand another hurricane. 13 months later, over the next few hours, we'll see if that's true or not. I want you to come back over and take a look over here. You can see this picnic table. This whole area was a kind of a common area for kids, for families alike to come enjoy themselves. Then on the other side of the fence should be about 50 yards of pristine beach. As you can see, we're 3 hours away from high tide here, the real push here in Belmar, and we've already got a breach up in some areas, which we'll drive by in Mobile 2 in just a few moments. But take a look over here. You can see the sea foam and the waves now starting to crash up on the boardwalk here. It's an incredible sight, to be honest, to see that the ocean has it's basically commandeered the whole beachfront at this point. As I can turn my back to the wind, it gives me a little bit of a better perspective here, and not to mention, can talk a little easier. But if you turn this way into it, you can feel the breeze, which is upwards of probably 50, 60 miles an hour right now. But this is a situation, and again, if you look in the distance, you can see the waves. There are some waves out there right now that are over 20 feet high. They're just massive. And some of the people that I have talked to here, including the Beach Patrol, they haven't seen a tide, they haven't seen waves like this ever. So as bad as they say Irene was last year, it scratches the surface to the conditions here in Belmar right now. I just spoke with the mayor of Bradley Beach, which is on the other side of Avon by the sea. She drove by a second ago and just said, we're scared. We honestly believe with high tide 3 hours away, we're going to see this entire Ocean Avenue as part of the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to continue to update you on the situation here out in Belmar. I'm Chris Raggi, live outside Mobile 2. Maurice, Christine, back to you inside.
Okay, Chris, thank you so much. And when you think about this thing hitting land in the next 30, 40 minutes or so, as Lonnie's saying, and then high tide in 3 hours, terrible combination. Just awful.
Yeah,
as we're going forward.
Like I said, it's really hard to digest all of this information and what could happen when all of these elements converge.
And what will happen, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, you know, we checked in Westchester County earlier, so we want to check back in once again. Lou Young is in Mamaroneck with the situation there, and Lou looks very wet. Lou?
Yeah, it is pretty bad. We are talking to people who are gauging when to go and when to stay and watching these big ocean-sized rollers come in off of the Long Island Sound. That's the Long Island Sound, and I want you to take a look out there, Edgewater Point, and keep a careful eye on those breakwaters there. When those waves come up against it, you would swear you were looking at the Atlantic Ocean. These are big waves that are really surging up against this on the Long Island Sound shore here in Westchester County. All this is very much in danger of going underwater.